Have you ever had one of those days where you just jump out of bed full of energy, and then the next day you can barely get up? What's going on there? Well, today we're going to open the owner's manual for your brain to understand a very powerful chemical that controls all of that. It's called dopamine.
Welcome back to Englopod, the podcast where you build confidence, gain motivation, and shape your future. If you want to improve your English while learning practical life skills and powerful ideas, you're in the right place.
So, let me ask you something. Do you ever just wonder why? Why do you feel so motivated on some days? Ready to do anything, and then other days, not at all? One day you have all this energy, and the next day, poof, it's gone. Why does that happen? Well, the answer is a special chemical, something inside your brain. And today, we're going to learn all about it, but in a really simple way. So are you ready? Let's get started. All right, so here's our plan for today. It's like our roadmap. First up, we're going to ask, what is dopamine? Then we'll get into something super important called the up and down rule. After that, we'll look at good peaks versus bad peaks. And to finish, we'll learn how you can control your dopamine. Okay, let's dive into part 1. What is dopamine? This is the chemical for motivation. So, what exactly is it? Dopamine is a chemical in your brain. Now, a chemical is just a substance, a tiny little thing inside our bodies. And this chemical, dopamine, helps you feel motivated. What does motivated mean? It means you have a reason, you have the energy to do something. So, really, dopamine is what makes you want to do things. You can think of dopamine as having two sides. On one side, when your dopamine is high, you feel amazing. You're full of energy and you really want to work and reach your goals. But on the other side, when your dopamine is low, you can feel tired, maybe a little sad. You just have no energy to do anything. It's a huge difference, right? All right, let's move on to the next part, the up and down rule. Now, listen closely, because this is probably the most important idea we're going to talk about today. If you can understand this one thing, you'll understand everything about dopamine. Okay, first we need to learn a new word. The word is baseline. Your baseline is just your normal, everyday level of dopamine. It's how you feel most of the time. Imagine a swimming pool. The baseline is the normal water level. It's not too high, not too low. It's just normal. And then we have something called a peak. A peak is a very short time when your dopamine goes way, way up. It goes very high. Think about our swimming pool again. A peak is like when someone does a big jump into the water, splash, and makes a giant wave. This happens when you do something you really, really enjoy. So, here's the rule. Let's go through it step by step. Step 1. You do something fun. Let's say you eat a piece of your favorite chocolate. So good. Step 2. Your dopamine goes up. That's the peak. That's the big wave. You feel great. But then, step 3, after the fun is over, your dopamine starts to go down. And here's the most important part. Step 4, it doesn't just go back to normal. It goes below your normal baseline. It's just like a seesaw on a playground. If one side goes really high up, it has to come really far down, even lower than where it started. You know that feeling? Maybe you have a super happy, exciting day. And then the next day, you feel a little empty, a little bit sad. That is the dopamine rule happening right inside your brain. It's a totally normal thing, so you don't need to worry about it. It happens to everyone. Okay, so that idea brings us right to our third section. Good peaks, versus bad peaks. Why? Because not all dopamine is the same. Some activities, some things we do, create peaks that are much, much bigger and sometimes more dangerous than others. So that makes you wonder, right? How much does dopamine actually go up for all the different things we do? Well, let's take a look at some of the numbers. Wow, look at the differences here. So eating chocolate, something we enjoy, right? That increases dopamine by about 1.5 times your normal level. Okay. Then something like nicotine from a cigarette, that's about 2.5 times normal. But look at this last one, a powerful drug like amphetamine. That can make your dopamine go up 10 times your normal level. That is a massive, massive peak. It's not natural at all. And now we have to remember our seesaw rule, right? What was it? A bigger up means a bigger down. So that giant 10 times peak from a drug, that means you're going to have a very, very deep and very long drop below your baseline after. And that feels terrible. And this right here is how addiction happens. Let's just walk through the steps so it's really clear. First, you get a huge peak from something like a drug. Then you have that huge drop and you feel awful. So what do? You take the drug again, not to feel good, but just to stop feeling so bad. But here's the problem. The next time, the peak is smaller, but the bad feeling, that drop, is still just as big. And soon, you find yourself needing the drug just to feel normal, just to get back to your baseline. It's a really tough cycle to break. Okay, so this sounds a little scary. But the good news is we can manage it. So let's go to our final section, how to control your dopamine. I'm going to give you 4 simple rules for a healthy brain. Okay, first up, here's a really healthy way to get a good dopamine peak. Are you ready? A cold shower. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but science shows it can increase your dopamine by 2.5 times. But here's the important part. Unlike a drug, it's not a fast spike. The dopamine goes up slowly, and it stays up for a long time, sometimes for up to 3 hours. And that means the drop afterwards is also slow and gentle. It's a really, really healthy kind of peak. All right, next rule. We want to avoid something called layering. So what is layering? It's when you mix too many fun things together all at once. For example, maybe you go for a run, but you're also listening to your favorite, super exciting music, and you had a coffee right before, and you're checking your phone while you run. That's too much. That's too many layers of pleasure. What happens is, pretty soon, just going for a run isn't fun anymore. So the better way, the good way, is to enjoy just one thing at a time. Just enjoy the run. This helps protect the simple pleasure of doing that one activity. This next idea is so important. Learn to love the effort, not just the reward. What does that mean? It means you need to teach your brain to feel good during the hard work, not only when you finish and get a prize. If you can learn to enjoy the process of working, of studying, of exercising, your motivation will last so much longer. And our last rule is about something called intermittent rewards. The word intermittent just means not always. It means sometimes. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Think about it. If you give yourself a chocolate every single time you finish one page of homework, it's not special anymore. But if the treat is a surprise, wow, it's so much more powerful. This is how social media and casino games work, you know? You don't get a like or win every time. It's the surprise of the reward that keeps us coming back. We can use this trick for our own good habits. So when you put it all together, the key is really balance. The goal of a happy life is not to always be chasing the biggest, most exciting feeling, because doing that can actually make you feel worse in your normal, everyday life. The real goal is to protect your baseline, that normal, everyday happiness and motivation. And that brings us to the end. So, I want to leave you with one last question to think about. What is one small thing you can do today to protect your dopamine? Maybe you'll just enjoy your lunch without looking at your phone. Or maybe you'll try that cold shower. Thank you so much for listening.